So what's the Get Down?
Hip hop culture lifestyle show.
Like Comic View for me was one that it came out a whole different thing. Like again, it wasn't even intentional. It's the circumstances. You say certain things, you got to be prepared for the opportunity that happens in front of you, right? And so I just had been hosted in St. Louis, had a whole bunch of jokes. I just did Def Comedy Jam, and they wasn't gonna put me back on. And I had all this material that I felt like I needed to put on TV. So I was like, I'm gonna go do BT. And all my contemporaries was telling me don't do it, because I was already an HBO comic. Right. They was like, don't fucking go to BT, man, stay over here. I was like, nigga, I just got jokes, nigga. I just wanna be on TV right now. Like, I just wanna fucking get these jokes off. I ain't really tripping off that part of it. I'm young, I ain't tripping off status and all that shit, right? I just wanna fucking get on TV and do these jokes. And went and did BT. Yeah. Just so happens DL was about to step down, and then they turned it into whoever win gonna be the new host. Oh. I didn't know that was happening. I was just trying to tell jokes. So that shit turned into me coming to do BT Comic View, becoming the host of BT Comic View, and then I was in everybody's house every night. BT Comic View used to come on every night of the week.
I remember.
Every night.
I remember.
Dog, you famous at that point.
Yeah.
You famous, you own, and you in people's household every night. And I'm presenting you with the dope comics. I'm presenting you with the Samoas and the Bruces and people you come to love, Earthquake them, you know, they coming while I'm the host, and I'm hey, and this guy, Jamario, a lot of motherfuckers popped out during that time, like another younger crew that was getting theirs, but they was coming on Comic View too, like, cause it was where you can get your volume off. So, circumstance. That's a circumstance, right? The circumstance was that they was gonna pick the new host from this lot.
So you saying that part?
I didn't know that part. I didn't know that was happening. I was just going to do jokes, right? I didn't even know that part was happening. So, you know, when it came out, when it got done, they offered me a real deal. They was like, yo, like, you know, you won. You get to come out here. We give you an apartment. We give you a big ass salary, and you live out of California. You shoot these shows. I'm like, what, nigga?
Yeah, but you was claiming the Board of Health. Man.
Oh, that was my whole move. Yeah, that was my move.
Yeah.
Had my little.
That's why they was like, yeah, you know what? We can get with him.
Were you with CAA then?
Nope. Me and Swanee.
They would have tried to talk him out of it.
Of course. They were one, like most of my contemporaries, was once I was on HBO, then everything was about looking and being and having a perception that you already a big deal. Like if you're on Def Jam and you're on HBO, that's stardom, right? BT was considered, you know, the minor leagues or something, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't on their radar, definitely for Hollywood. I used to go and move. I used to do a whole joke. I go and meet them. I know exactly who you are, Cedric the Interrogator. Love it. Love your stuff. Love it. So good. Cecil the Interrogator. Have it down. Sit down, Cecil. Cedric, man. Cedric.
You buggy.
Them motherfuckers swear to God, they love everything I do. And they ain't know my name for shit. And you like, oh, wow, okay. You know what, this came, you was going back to something, I just want to jump in. You was going back to something to where this has been a constant conversation in the black community, right? This idea that if everybody could work together and do this thing, somehow it would be this greater thing, right? And this has been, you know, for black people, you know, when I came out here, it was always the same thing, right? But you see, like, you just see, like, you know, systematically, man, like, these are fucking fights that have to be had every day. Like, every day. They don't fucking get solved. So even if we did that, we still be on this systematic fight to make that shit a viable thing, because even one of them ain't gonna be enough to catch up to the Ferrari. If we had one distribution center, we would still be, you know, being angled by the motherfucker that won't let us get a billboard in Spain. You see what I'm saying?
I used to hear people just coming out here getting a deal. I used to hear people just coming out here selling a movie. Yeah.
There is a time out here, dog. like it was a time out here. If you was a comedian, you can go do a showcase somewhere. Motherfuckers assign you to a holding deal. You can get upward to $600,000, dog, for a year of holding you to come up with ideas.
I had 10 of those.
Like that was that kind of money. That shit ain't out here like that right now.
I was only a comedic actor. I did the Patti LaBelle show. From that show, NBC was like, "We're gonna give you your own show." They gave me Chestnut, right? Yeah. They gave me a bunch of money. It was like, "We're gonna hook you up with writers. We're gonna come up with an idea, and you're gonna give you your own show." And that we would do that, but I would get the newish writers that were coming up. I didn't get the A-list writers that had shows on the air already or whatever. Right. That was for other people. Right. So I had to be the little engine that could. You come up with a great idea, you jump off the screen and they'll pick it up. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time I had done like, I don't know, 8, 9 pilots, whatever. And Dave Chappelle had done a pilot, and he had done a bunch of them. And we were in New York one time, and both our shows, we shot pilots, we didn't get picked up. We went to Nell's, we got drunk, we walking down 14th Street, and we was just like, man, what the fuck we gotta do? We're in the middle of the street, though. We're on the double line. What are we gonna do? Because he lived on 14th Street at the time. He had a little apartment in the city. He was like, what are we gonna do? We just can't. And I remember when all of us got picked up, Dave called me. He was like, yo, is this number 11 for you? I was like, yeah. He said, it was 11 for me too. That's when the Dave Chappelle show got picked up. He said, his production company was called Pilot Boy.
At the time, yep.
His 11th pilot got picked up, and my 11th pilot got picked up. And we used to laugh about that because it was just like, you take the deal, you go through the motions, you learn what you learn from it. Mm-hmm. There's a gift in it, in your failures, and look for the gift. You don't look for the tragedy of it. It's like,
I didn't know look for the gift. So zen, and I'm listening to you too.
Ced did about 5, 6, 7 pilots before your first show got picked up.
At least 3. At least 3. I mean, I went from the Steve Harvey show. And then I did Ced the Coach. I did, I
remember like 3 of them.
Grown ass.
Even after Steve Harvey.
Man Up. I did Man Up with Regina Hall.
People don't know the misses, but if you're growing from your misses, you end up on CBS.
Yep.
That's right.
Some people get bruised on the way and they just fall off. They just can't take it. They let the failure of that particular thing, when so many things have to go right for it to happen. You know, I remember we was doing Real Husbands of Hollywood, and Kevin was telling his story. Everybody had a story. Kevin got picked up on ABC, his show. He's flying to New York to the upfronts to meet all of the advertisers and everything to announce his show. He got canceled in the air.
Dang it.
He got canceled
on your way.
in the air.
Man, that ain't even on your day off.
He got to New York and they were like, he just jump on a plane and go back to LA.
We not gonna do it.
We're not doing it. Something happens, whatever happened, it's not in the lineup. But people don't see those stats.
And so every idea really goes to that point, right? Like any idea, like you think about it, even getting a movie made, those things could happen. Think of all the people that had movies ready to go, and then COVID hit. Yeah, and then when COVID came out, it changed their whole business model for the people that was doing it. And them movies go away, dog. It ain't nothing you could do about it. And you was ready to go. Everything was about to change.
Yeah.
Or Katrina hit, or George Floyd, or anything that changes the topography. Fucking Trump won, changed our whole life out here.
I think that's part of the reason why LA's Finest didn't get picked up for a 3rd season, because we were already expensive. And then if you have COVID protocol and you're shooting a show that costs $12 million an episode,
right?
Like you got to tack on another $1 million for a season for COVID.
Yeah.
Salute you, man. You always got something going on, man. You just a cold exec over there, man. You know what I'm saying?
This dude done done movies. Like he's you know, that's the thing about Duane. He ain't no dude that's on the fence. Like he ain't produced movies,
that's what I'm saying.
made them on his own, hustled them, sold them, got out there. Like
he's had the studio over there for the longest. Like I'm hip to all of that. I'm just saying, like, how do we where the talent is the money, correct?
The talent is the draw. Right,
the business is where the money is.
But the business side,
show business.
Every person you see on the air, there's a lot of
business.
There's a lot of black people working.
Right.
More than ever. More than ever.
More than ever, a lot.
But
at high levels too.
These are jobs. These are jobs. These are not executives being born. These are people. This is work.
So that whole Tyler Perry situation, that's something that
they're unique. But these are people's. I always say those kind of paths, they belong to that individual, man. Like you know as much as everybody thinks that what he does is simple and we can all do it, it's just not true. It's not necessarily true. And so, you know, again, be creative, be dynamic, decide to make a mark in the world, and those things will be true. You know, if you make a mark, then it's your mark and it's true. Like it ain't, you know, I ain't do this, I ain't do that according to who. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, my example.
I don't buy into his model anyway.
It don't matter. It's his model.
But
you know what I'm saying?
My thing is this: like you start making plays, then you get a deal, you get distribution deal, then you get money, then you get all this money. If you're growing up in New York, in Brownsville, in the projects, like the elevators didn't really work well. So if you lived on the 12th floor and somebody was going up to the 12th floor, you would tell them, send it back down. Mm-hmm. So they got to push one for it to come back down, or the elevator will sit at 12. Mm-hmm. So if you don't tell somebody, hey man, send it back down, then you're not going to get a ride up. Mm-hmm. And for me, when you start making that kind of money and you're not paying the actors, then you're doing the same thing Warner Brothers is doing. You're doing the same thing that Disney is doing. You're taking the money from the artists and you're building a bigger facility. Mm-hmm. Those buildings that are being built by Disney, then if you get on to Disney as a child, they're gonna pay you $1,500 a week. And you're working 20 hours a day, like the Mickey Mouse Club, like all those kids that came out of there that were pop stars, they worked their ass off. They could dance, sing, act. They were talented. They worked all the time. They didn't get paid much until they became stars. For me, if you're putting your money in your infrastructure, and you're building this big empire, and you're not sharing, I'm not with it. That's just me.
That's why it's dope, because said you need to write a book or something though, on the real though. He's real, you know what I'm saying? He's zen and like, yo, circumstances, you know what I mean, make the moment. But
they really do though.
But you like, nah, fuck that.
You gotta fucking send the elevator down, man. Everybody's got to trickle down. Everybody's got to do better. You can't just be you. Mm-hmm. Or what are you doing it for? For some people, God is money. Like if that's what it is, then okay, fine. But if you're gonna bring everybody with you, you're gonna, you know, some of these shows you see being shot. These new actors you see on these shows that Tyler's making, they're making $1,000 a day. They're shooting 5 episodes a week, but they're making $5,000 a week, which they never made in their life. But come on, it's like an episode for an average actor in Hollywood is gonna make 20.
But the thing about
a show,
that,
$120 a show.
But the thing about it is the opportunity exists for that person to actually do their skill set and do it. And that's the circumstances in front of them, right? And again, you know, not being in his shoes, I don't know exactly, you know, if that's his motivation is literally just to not give motherfuckers money. He may have a whole motivation of why he does it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because he also put a lot of people back to work that wasn't working at all. And
right, but that's what Disney is saying.
He got consistency, and again,
when we're underpaid, that's what they're saying. You're working. We're not.
That may be the case.
Like Taraji was making a third, and they had the #1 show. She's making a third of what somebody's actress is making on a white show. So. You could be. That's great for her, and she can, and is. But I'm like, if we're a people, we can't do that to each other. The same thing that they're doing, and that's my opinion.
It may be in the business model though. It's not even that it's intentional. I understand what you're saying.
If it's a business model, it's intentional.
But it may be in the business model and how you actually continue to perpetrate it, right? To do it around, because even those people, like if they got that 5,000 a week and they were able to put together 50 weeks.
Yeah, no.
But you also paying them off what the business is allowing you to pay, right? And then theoretically, you know, the idea that one got a lot of money because we look over and see them or we see their deal and we make this assumption that they got all this fucking money. That, you know, through circumstances, through the whole way the deal put together, this is not what I can provide. This is how I provide. And I do that consistently for a long time, and you can always count on me, right? That's a different fucking model. Yeah, it ain't fucking you, but you might not get that at CBS. You might get more money an episode, but you ain't gonna get as many episodes. So that may be the fucking way that I gotta do it, dog, because I don't get the same money on my return that they get for their shows. I got a fucking library of shows that ain't nobody gave me Seinfeld money for none of my shows. Right? And that's my truth. Right? But I do keep black people working. I do, and I admit, nigga. I admit. Right, and that may be the truth, though.
And that's real. That's 1,000%. But when you move into the executive position and you're hiring people of color, and we're complaining about Hollywood, and you're perpetuating the same thing that the other people are doing, you got to take a look at that. Like, I'm just not comfortable. I mean, clearly the guy's super successful. He's got hundreds of acres of studios, islands, private planes, all of that. I personally, if I had 10 shows and I had to pay everybody $1,000 an episode, I would rather do 6 shows and pay everybody $5 an episode. That's just me. I would try to funnel more back down than that, because you only need so much.
But look how many people you took out of the equation, though.
You live in abundance.
That was getting 1,000.
Huh?
When you dropped 4 shows, you took out. Yeah, you gave these people extra money, but I took out this many thousands just to pay these people.
Right.
When my idea might be the volume that I'm doing, right?
Right.
The volume, add 1,000. If I can give you that fucking 25 times, dog, I'm doing you a solid.
But
well, let me ask you this though, Big Ton, because I hear what he's saying though. Like he's coming with a solution, and I understand what you're saying. You saying you want to pay him what you want to pay him by making a smaller scale. But I'm saying based on the model that's out there, that's already out there, that he's already discussing. All right, what's the alternative? Give me a solution on how we can go ahead and do what you talking about, but with the budget that he's on.
I want to build the middle class up.
So you want to bring the Huxtables back?
I want to give people enough money to go get a loan to buy a house in a good neighborhood that's going to go from $1 million to 2.5 one day, and then they can refi and send their kids to school. If you're paying somebody $1,000, they're going to continue to have an apartment. I rather,
But
because everybody
$1,000 50 times though.
But they don't do 50. They're not doing 1,000. They're doing 5,000 a week. They're doing 5 shows a pop. They're doing 20 shows.
Right.
What bank you gonna walk into and get generational wealth? You know how we fell back. You know how we fell back.
Anytime somebody's, again, this would be my point. It's $1,000 on the table. An actor, it's $5,000 a week on the table, or I can fucking wait for Hollywood to send me through their process of auditioning against Ced and Duane's and all these people that they count on, and I ain't getting no work. I ain't busy. They ain't looking out for me. At no money, right? I gotta be on a certain tier just to even be considered, right? With them over here, it's $5,000 a week on the table, and I get to do what I want to do.
But your
I just gotta be thankful.
But also your product suffer because you're not getting quality. You're making zippers. You don't see nobody from there coming out really competing for like major shit out here, because it's just like I feel like where brown people lost is in home ownership. The only reason why white people were able to get a jump on us in generational wealth is because of home ownership. People bought their homes for $20,000 and now the shit is fucking $3 million. Right? So they got $3 million to put their kids through college and go on vacations and do things. And, if these people, if we can't buy homes and farm our land, and we're living there. We're growing. Everybody's now on another level because now they could buy a house and now they could refi their house and buy a rental. Now they can refi their house and buy their mama house. Now their mom house is going up in equity. Their house is going up in equity. And they still got money that they're making.
Yeah.
That's where we lost. Like we lost in having land. Starting businesses, most businesses fail, but land and where you live is gonna appreciate over time. And we just never. That's what really hurt us: the redlining and the loans and being able to buy homes.
It's so deep. It's so deep.
I want to employ people. I want them to be able to.
Original thing. I mean,
I want to, but you don't want people to be able to go buy a house after all their hard work. Like they can't with that kind of money.
It's opportunities. It's opportunities. It's opportunities. If you consistently bringing in 100 racks, nigga, you should be able to do some shit with your life. Like goddamn, like nigga,
100 racks for what 2-3 years?
Who gives a fuck?
What you gonna buy?
100 racks once, motherfucker.
What you gonna buy?
Buy 7 Detroit houses, nigga. Own them bitches.
Refi like
nigga, I got a whole block, nigga, in Detroit, nigga. Serious right now? 100 racks, nigga. I bought all them bitches. And I'm doing bit by bit. I'm putting motherfuckers in there and I'm doing my thing, and that's it. But all the motherfuckers, I got that whole block, nigga, for 100 racks.
All right, 100 racks.
And then you do it again.
What are you gonna do with 100 racks?
Do it again.
I'm saying you down south on 100 racks.
Oh, you can do plenty.
You can put your payment down.
You can do plenty.
Your house down.
100 racks.
You can do plenty.
Down south. I didn't say here.
After everything? After tax?
I'm saying you gonna put down about 50.
But the opportunity, with one, it always starts with, do you feel worthy as a human being, right? Mm-hmm. So no matter what money you make, we all can learn something from, that's what I even like about life in general, man. Like you can just, you can meet somebody that they like, motherfucker just work on cars, man. You know what I'm saying? They just work on cars, but they got so much motherfucking shit that as a human being, that's where the real value is. And they'll never be a fucking billionaire. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But this motherfucker's a valuable person, right? And those kind of things is where you got to really count it. Because that's what I'm saying. Everybody just don't get to be Elmer J. Fudd, dog. Like everybody don't get to own the mansion and the yacht. That's just not the reality. We all can aspire and we can can all want greater things for ourselves, but really, when you get up every day, you got to go handle your business for your family and your circumstance, right? So, again, when somebody offering you $5,000 a fucking week to act,
you take it.
You take it.
I get that. I'm speaking.
And it's not saying that Tyler a bad dude because that's all he offering them.
I'm not saying he's a bad dude. I'm saying there's a certain amount of responsibility when you're up there and you're feeding.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. Teach on that broom.
But that's just me. That's me. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
No, little one, I got you.
I think he's doing it though. It's just it's perception.
How can you do it?
I think the perception is wrong. I think that's all I'm saying. Because I think he's doing that. I think he's doing it his way. Like, you got your own way, and I understand that. That's the thing, right? But you have to build those circumstances to where the reality of that circumstance is really real. Like, the thought process of, I would love to be able to give everybody 20 grand a fucking week. Yeah. You know, the reality of that is really based off, do you have the wherewithal and the circumstance to actually provide that, right?
It's there. That kind of money is there.
Well,
so how do you access it?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying he has that kind of money to
now
pay.
you count this man money.
No, I know what the deal look like.
Can't count the man money.
I know what the deal look like. There's a
can't count the man money, man.
I know what it looks like.
Count the man money.
I know what it looks like. You know, one of my good friends is the president of Lionsgate. I know what the deal looks like. I just have a problem. We're struggling out here trying to get fair wages.
Is it the responsibility of the black man is to teach or to actually give it?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's both.
Okay.
I will take home less when I know I'm king building.
Have somebody ever given you something? You feel like somebody just gave you something?
What I'm worth?
Just for some shit to where you actually went to somebody and asked them to give you something and you didn't have anything to offer but just, hey, give me this. Right? What do you have to offer in that situation, right? Or do you go like, oh, somebody just gave me this, right? Like, if you get a great gift and you go like, all right, cool, somebody just walked up and gave me a beautiful gift. That was dope, man. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking red hot ripplers. It was a fucking wonderful thing. And I feel like, to your point, I feel like that's merited off the value you bring to a person, right? I asked you for that. You gave me that. That was a gift, right? If I came up and said, hey, man, give me your hat, right? I want your hat. And I'm not trying to fucking bully you for it. I just asked you for your hat. And you got to decide at this point that you want to give that to me, right? But if you gave that to me, do I now feel like it's necessary to reciprocate that? Honor that. That fucking move right there, right? And that means that I'm either going to try to give back to you in some kind of way, in kind, in spirit, in attitude, in whatever it is that I feel like I offer. I'm going to be honorable to the fact that you gave me something in life, right? And then you got to also decide that who you want to be then. Like, now you got to, because you can't just go around just take shit from people all the time. Like, what dude is that? Exactly. Right? You got to be able to offer sometimes. You got to be able to give to the. It's a circle. Like, if you live in that circle of love, and sometimes you just got to put some shit in the fucking on the table for everybody, man. And it's like, yo, man, that's dope. Thank you, brother. That shit that came just in time. But I kind of go back to the point of each one teach one, right? And the more the people that get to have that lesson, right, is the key. Because any degree of consistency, from poverty, being able to have a skill set, being able to learn a job, being able to be responsible, right? I'm not paying you these astronomical fees, but I literally have brought, because I got 10 shows on, I gotta have at least 10 fucking wardrobe departments. And I may conduce them down to like a big 5 with one lady that run it all, but it's people on them jobs, because when they shooting and the shirt wrong, it's somebody there. They gotta that's their job, to make sure you did something and your shirt tail came off in the belt. I gotta make sure that's not on that shot, because we shooting, right? I gotta get all that part right. It's my job. Like if I get some shit and the director go like, man, we can't fucking use that shot this whole time. This motherfucker, man, god damn, he supposed to be going to an interview. I needed that shirt to be tucked. Like it's somebody's job, right? You gave somebody a job. They get $1,000 a week. You good for them.
So
that's all I say. You got more of that happening. You growing people, you building, you putting people on, you bringing in choreographers, you doing styling, you find it. You got a volume going. You know what I mean? That's a different job. That's a different thing. I understand what he's saying, quality of life and all these things. But this guy didn't. That's the other thing. This guy didn't necessarily go and just grab the bag. He built a business, and then the bag became a part of what it was that he was doing, and people bought the content. He had his own content to this day. This motherfucker write everything. He don't get writer's credit. He don't write everything, but he don't give writer's credit. This is his point. But he pay the people, and they get through and they live their life for a little period of time because they don't have no LA shows giving them love.
Yeah, the people behind the camera get hit even more than the actors.
Factual.
That's what we got to understand. Also, the wardrobe person is not on camera. They're getting hit even harder. They're working for wages that are below what they really, really, really deserve. I'm not gonna say the show, but I was doing a series one time, and the network decided, we're going to do 22, but we're going to shoot we're going to shoot 2 shows in 1 week 3 times. Right? So
wait a minute, say it again.
We're shooting 22. Yeah. But we're going to shoot 2 shows in 1 week.
Yeah.
3 different times throughout the season.
Right.
Now, when we shoot 2 shows that 1 week, the wardrobe people make money for 1 show. The cameramen make money for 1 show. The craft services make money for 1 show. The actors get paid for 2 shows. So they're pushing those people's heads in the fucking ground because they're not on camera. So they're saving money, but they're taking it from the people that's like vulnerable. So I like to speak for the people that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's saying is, it's not like it's not doable.
Right.
It's just
very
that
doable.
the opportunity is somebody has to build it. But again, building an idea like that, it all breaks down to how do you distribute? Where do you get the money from?
Yeah.
Like you know, and it's going to be a big partner that's going to come in and give you a distribution deal, right? And that's where the opportunity. But you got to be moving units. Can't move units, then none of it all becomes moot.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about people that don't have the money.
I can dig it.
Because there's a lot of independents that you work for them because you're like, I'm gonna provide my services.
Well, the thing is that like when you think about the distribution it's the mechanism to get it to the people, right? It's the mechanism to get it to the people. So one of the reasons I believe is that is the bigger mechanism that those 1%ers hold on to, right? So we've never really been able to have a distribution. So we can have the label, we can be the company, we can do this, but the distribution to get it to the people usually is like most of the things you'll see. Great Master P started out the trunk, right? Built the business out of the trunk. When he made his deal for distribution, he had the advantage though, because he already had the customer base and he had a young dude that was just trying to figure out how to get on. And he was willing to take that shot, right? You get 85, yeah, I'll take 15, right? On the distribution, but I got the ability to take what you're doing out the trunk and get it to the people. I own the distribution cycle, right? And from those deals especially with music, but television's always been that way. Only until somebody like Tyler Perry came along and did what became another industry standard was the 1090, which was a very unique deal. Like nobody had ever done that before. He actually had owned his shows, shot them all, went out, showed them in small markets in the South where he had a fan base. And he was his own guy, right? Like, I don't need y'all. Then Turner saw what he had and said, we can distribute that for you in a bigger way. And matter of fact, he go, I got 100 of these then. I don't have just 10. You buy these first 10, I give you the other 90. And y'all buy them. So they give him the money to basically shoot 90 when I did only 10. Now I got money to do it, but you bought all 100. So that's my show that y'all bought. I'm a part of this show because y'all bought my show. Yeah, we partners. Like, you know, that's it.
Yeah, you're gonna run into the big boys to distribute. You're gonna have
That's
to do
big,
a deal.
though. That's strategy.
You got to do a deal with the guys that are distributing worldwide. Like you,
No matter what.
No matter what. Nobody's giving up that real estate. Why would you give up a piece of property that's cash flowing like crazy and growing? Why would you sell it?
Because it goes to the people, and you're definitely just going to let, because it goes directly to the consumer base. I'm the distributor on all things. I'm Amazon, nigga, whatever you selling, you need to be with me, otherwise you ain't selling shit.
I can dig it, but see, y'all are brands. No matter how y'all looking at it.
We can have the brand.
Y'all can go direct.
But we're
To who?
Yeah,
Like
well,
direct to your clients. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure y'all got
Okay,
websites and stuff
we've
like
done
that.
those, but I mean, but in order to turn that into a profitable situation where it's a business, you have to then decide to do business with someone,
what you got.
right?
you're not
Because
going to get
other
you're
than
not going to
other
get
than-
that billboard on the corner in Spain.
Right.
That's why I fucking with you.
They own it already,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So if you want to expand globally, you're gonna have to break bread.
Tidal would have
You know?
been the greatest example of that. You know what I'm saying? Tidal, that move allowed people to put up, you know, but most of their music, but they could put up content over there. Young artists, if you were a big artist, you can have your stuff over there and get a bigger percentage and play the game. The model was built to be the first kind of, you know, black distributorship that gave at least the artist some part of the participation in the game, right? And a lot of those people, like even the ones that was at the beginning of it, they all ate when Jay sold that piece the other day. Everybody got a little chunk. Of
But
just
music is different
money.
than what we do.
But no, I'm talking, yeah, exactly. Because people have
talking
tried
about
platforms. Even when you think about, you take BET in its early days, in the early MC, he was rocking in the cable space, and therefore he was an independent operator. He had to go raise money and raise money, but BET in those early days was independent. Then you try to get more eyeballs. Then satellites come into play, and then boom, boom, and then you make a business deal, right?
Then Viacom
because
came.
then Viacom come after you and say, look, we see what you're doing. We got your big chunk. We need that in our portfolio.
Here's a
we just
Billy.
get ready to take you out the game, dog. Like it's gonna be too hard for you to not take this fucking $3 billion, dog. Like $3 billion, bro.
It is a rough conversation.
I mean, what you trying to prove, right? At this point, you build a great idea. You do have distribution for black things. This is what this brand is all about. Now they're getting ready to own it, but this brand allows us to put up black content and have it, go through the filters of black people, except for the corporate level of it, right? And that changes things, but again, it's corporate though. It's up there.
One time I pitched this movie to Jamie Foxx. We were gonna do this movie called Inglewoods, and it was about Tiger. This is when Tiger was at his height, it was about Tiger Woods' distant cousin who lived in Inglewood.
Yeah.
And they and Tiger's father and Jamie's father were brothers, and both of them were phenoms. They go to the Merv Griffin show. You know the famous Merv Griffin show when Tiger puts it in and he picks it up, put it in. This movie starts backstage where there's Jamie and Tiger, and Tiger would putt and go, yes, right? Jamie, he would have on slippers and shit, the corduroy slippers, and sagging or whatever. He did this whole thing. He and puts it in, and it goes in. He'll go, in your face. And they're backstage. They're going, you can't do that on television. I'm sorry, but and they're like, yo, nah, that's my son. He's like, and then Jamie's father talked to him. He goes, hey man, look, this is our big break. You can't do that on television. Whatever. And Jamie's like, okay, Dad, all right. And then they go, okay, can we see him do it again? The producers are backstage. Yeah. Jamie goes, does his little thing, puts it, it goes in. He looks around. In your face! In your face! In your face! So they leave Jamie. They say he's not coming on.
So he don't.
So him and Tiger holding hands like Whoopi and them did like in the color. No. And they pull Tiger and Jamie and his father away. Tiger goes out to be famous, and Jamie's back in the hood, and it's like all he wants to do is go meet his cousin and go on tour. And Jamie plays with one club. And you gotta be
right, because conceptually that shit is funny right there. Like everything you just pitched is a fucking great ass story that you want to watch and you want to see it be told, and you can see how funny it can be. That's the side of the business where going in, pitching an idea, getting it sold. All right, cool. They're gonna buy it. Right. They'll buy it, take it off the market. All right, cool. They give you some money for it. All right, now we're gonna ask you for a rewrite. Then we ask you for another rewrite. We can rewrite your ass to you out of either we doing it or you not. But whatever position we put you in at that point in time, it might say, well, look, all these people came in and they want to put the money up and they want to do the film, but you're going to have to give up more of your side. And you'd be like, man, fuck that, man, blah, blah, blah. No, well, we probably going to go away. Right? And that's basically what happened on Hunting on that movie with The Cleaner. Because I fought for the dude. They saw him, and they said, all right, cool, if you want this, if this is what you really want, the movie was supposed to start in November. It would stop, and it would go to the spring, but business happens, and we can't necessarily guarantee that it'll go in the spring. So, now I'm about to make fucking $4.5 million for this fucking movie. I'm like, well, shit.
Gonna have to go and shoot this.
What's my man name again? What's your name?
I told you right.
I'm on that brainwash, full rollout, anonymous. Underplay the overplay, strategic, I promise. More dope brings more Negroes. Watch them heroes, pro lethal. Dream killers feast on people. Nubius in need, mine on the hunt. Paul Bear, sharp fluid, gates and piston bumps. No excuses, that's a sin. Back to the begin. Muscle memory, pseudo respect and revenge. Plays blindfolded, a bucket list with interest. Forgiveness, the shadows and mirrors who handle business. Legacy, all grind, no guest list. Land in jurisdiction, make your bread prejudice. For the purists and the tourists, Q sticky for ghetto jurors. Swing high, swing low, you forgot that we do this. Bank selection, smooth DR vibe, underground icon.